Saturday morning, football's back, it's game day. So last season I became a commentator for Lincoln City in League One, which is cool for two main reasons for me. One, I'm actually commentating on actual football, and two, I'm a Lincoln City fan. Like, what more could you want as a football fan than to commentate on your own team? But I'm lucky enough to be doing it again this season, so what I thought I'd do is take you along with me for the first game of the season to see what I get up to. Although, before we go to the stadium, there actually is probably a few things I should explain first. My commentary is a little bit different as to what you would typically be hearing on TV, and that's because I provide the audio description commentary in the stadium. Basically, my job is to provide in-depth descriptions of the match for people primarily with visual impairments, but really anyone who has some sort of difficulty following along the game, but they still want to get that live stadium experience. So in reality, it's only a small number of fans in the stadium that tune in to our commentary, but it's a really important part of making the club accessible and the matches accessible for all fans. So to explain it better, let me show you some actual examples of commentary. Now, I can't actually show you any commentary from Lincoln City matches because then I'd be in breach of various licensing agreements, and I'll be honest, I don't really want to get sued. But what I can do is commentate on Football Manager. So here's an example of what you might hear on TV. Malario, out wide to Fiamosi, puts the ball forward into Wallamark, and Wallamark puts it in the middle. Ramazani! What a finish from Largi Ramazani! Now, if you watch that back with your eyes closed, you'll have no idea where the ball actually is on the pitch or how the goal has actually been scored. With audio descriptive commentary, this is what it would sound like. Malari with the ball in the centre circle, plays it down to his near side to Fiamosi, who plays a right-footed pass 30 yards forward to Wallamark on the edge of the area, cuts inside, cross into the middle, Ramazani at the far post, right-footed volley in the back of the net from the edge of the 6-yard area, and it's a fantastic goal. Essentially, this is what radio commentary should be as well, but if you listen to radio commentary of football matches, it's rarely like this at all. But actually, commentating on the match is only part of the role. I guess I actually spend more time doing the preparation for the match. You need to know what you're talking about, so doing some research on the teams and players is absolutely crucial, and because the nature of what we do is descriptive, there's not actually a whole lot of spare time to throw in some stats and some facts into the match. The only time we get to do that is during some periods of prolonged breaks, like if the ball gets kicked out of the stadium, or the fans hold on to it after it goes out for a throw-in, for example. But it is really important to be able to have some sort of facts to put in there as well for hopefully this season when Tom Hopper scores, I can say something like, and with that goal, Tom Hopper now has 83 goals for the season. There are tons of resources out there that you can use for research, but the one I always like to start with is the One Football app, who are kindly sponsoring today's video. And they've even got a giveaway for you guys to celebrate the start of the season. Typically, I'll start off my research by looking at the League One table to find out where the teams are and a few general stats like goals scored and goals against. I'll then click on the match page for the match between Lincoln and whoever they're playing and get some key information from that. I'll then go on to the opposition and look through their most recently played games to see who's played the games and what formation they've played in those games. I also flick through their recent news to see if anything interesting is coming up that might impact the game as well. And because it's the start of a brand new season, One Football are also giving you the chance to win the jersey of your favourite team and a copy of FIFA 23. All you have to do is visit the link in the description, download the app if you haven't done so already, fill out a few personal details, and then try and predict the winner of the opening 5 games of the Premier League season. And if you get them all correct, you're in with a chance of winning the shirt and a copy of FIFA 23. As a Lincoln City fan, I am pretty up to speed with all of the Lincoln City players, what formation we're likely to play, what style of play we're likely to use, so most of the research isn't done for Lincoln, although I do this season have a big spreadsheet full of all the Lincoln City players, and I'll be filling out all the minutes, goals, and other sort of information that I think might be necessary over the course of the season. More often, the research is done for the opposition team, so I know exactly what they're likely to be playing, the players that are likely to play, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, just so I've got a full picture of the team, so basically I don't come across like an idiot. Now, Lincoln City are playing against Exeter City here today in the first game of the season, and Exeter have only made 2 signings so far, so actually what I'm hoping is that a lot of their team is going to be the exact same from last season, playing a very similar system, but that could all change because of course it is the first game of the season, but there's not actually an awful lot of data to go off with the new season approaching. So in this first game of the season, research can be a little bit more tricky.
There we go.
Cheers. Thanks very much. Someone's taken my parking spot. They've not been utilised it properly. That's the issue. You meant to reverse into the space because it's like literally a straight line from the spot out the car park, and they've not used it properly. You reverse in to go straight out all the way, and it's It's not actually my spot. I just like to claim it. That's all it is. I just bit the inside of my mouth as well. It hurt. Walking around to the ground now to pick up the media pass to actually get into the stadium and the gantry area and all that kind of good stuff. The guy who volunteers to do the media pass, like, you know, giving it out, whatnot, literally, I think in like 60 years, he's missed literally a handful of games. Like, that's it. He's been to like virtually every game for like 60 years. It's pretty impressive. And he's basically like a Lincoln City oracle and legend. But to go to that many games, like, he's not just a Lincoln City legend, right? Sure, like just a football fan legend, basically. Should also point out as well that I'm volunteering for a company called Alan March Sports, who then provide us to Lincoln City and other clubs around the country as well, but we're specifically for Lincoln City. But for me, I see football commentary as like a career path right down the line. So for me, this is providing like really valuable experience to actually commentate on actual football matches. And then, you know, down the line, if BBC, ITV, Sky, ESPN, beIN Sport, BT Sports as well, 5 Live, did I say ESPN? Setanta, are they still a thing? Is that even a thing? Setanta? NBC, Fox, Canal. I'm trying to think now of like the Sky Sports listings. Premier Sports, they're a thing, right? Either way, if you're a broadcaster, feel free to get in touch because, yeah, I'd love to do it. So let me know. Also at the stadium as well, meeting up with Scott, who's the co-commentator today. There's 3 of us in the audio descriptive team, right? Because essentially we are volunteers, right? There's 3 of us in the team. We sort of cycle round. So there's 2 of us on the game, but 3 of us in the team. So we can cycle round because obviously we're volunteers. We're not contracted, like paid hours wise, to actually be there. So say if someone's got something on, like today, Gareth is away. I think he can't be available today. So me and Scott are doing the commentary. So we can just sort of rotate around and things like that. Right, Scott, can you explain how all of this kit works, please?
Yes, we're talking to our microphones on our headsets.
Beautiful.
Transmitted through this box, through the transmitter, to these receivers, which are collected by the fans before the game. And that's pretty much that.
Right, one of the perks of the job is to get a free match pie. Scott, what are you getting today, match pie? Steak pie.
Job done.
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable. Bottle of water, steak pie. Chicken is available too, as is vegetarian, but I don't think you can beat steak. So we've just had the team sheets come in for both the teams. Luckily for us, I'm going to say, Exeter are without their first choice keeper Jamal Blackman, who signed. So they're playing Scott Brown, who's I think their sort of goalkeeping coach, should you say?
Player coach, because he's played once in 2 years.
Well, there we go. So that's my hope there for Lincoln City, because I was doing some research on some of their top players from last season. Players like Giovanni Brown, who else is in there? Josh Key's in there, Sam Nombe, he's in there. They've all played a lot of minutes with each other last season, scoring a lot of goals as well. Like, it's a very tight-knit, decent team. So I'm happy that they've got an unproven keeper in goal, because that might be Lincoln's only chance, because we've not been scoring too many goals this past, well, transfer window, pre-season and last season either. We've got Tom Hopper up front, number 9, Scully on one side, Adelican on the other side.
Bench isn't strong either.
And the bench isn't particularly strong either. Chris Maguire on the bench, even though the club told him he's got no future.
I'm assuming that's for a lack of options rather than anything else.
I mean, it's a great sign when a lot of players who have come in over the summer are not in the matchday squad, suggesting they're injured.
They're all playing, apart from one.
Okay, well, I'm cutting that bit out of the video. I'm not looking like a fool. Actually, I will defend myself. 3 of our new signings were on the pitch, 1 was on the bench, and 2 weren't in the squad, suggesting they are injured actually. I've written down what I reckon the lineups are going to be for this game. Last season, Exeter played a 3-4-1-2. It looks like they're going to set up the sort of same. Maybe some of these players are slightly wrong, like maybe Dieng and Collins could maybe just swap over a little bit potentially. It's the same with Lincoln City, right? We're going to play a 4-3-3 essentially. It's what we've been doing all pre-season. Adelican and Scully on the wings will swap over. Sanders and Oakley Booth will interchange, but Sorensen will be the holding guy. But roughly, these are quite right, and if they do change a little bit, you can pick it up pretty quickly once the game's underway.
Hello and welcome to the LNER Stadium for the first game of the League One season between Lincoln City
and Exeter City. New promoted Exeter City, who came second in League Two last season, only made 2 signings so far this summer, so they're retaining most of their team from last season, who played very well indeed. We've got the lineups for you guys to go through, starting off with Lincoln City. Rushworth in goal with a backline of Robson, Poole, O'Connor and Ayoma. A midfield 3 of Sorensen, Sanders and Tashan Oakley-Booth, with Scully and Adelican on the wings and Tom Hopper starting at top. The bench made up of Jordan Wright, Adam Jackson, Ted Bishop, Jay Ben, Chris Maguire, despite being told by the club he's got no future, is on the bench, and Jovan McCarmer and Charlie Kendall also find themselves on the bench. As for Exeter, well, they're going to line up in their familiar 3-4-1-2 they did in the past season. They've got Brown in goal, their new keeper, one of the signings, Jamal Blackman, who joined earlier on this week, is not to play due to injury, so they've got 37-year-old goalkeeping coach Brown on the starting for them essentially today. Partridge, Diabate and Sweeney make up the back 3 with Sparks, Dieng, Collins and Key in that midfield 4. Brown starts just in front of them as that sort of creative outlet in the attacking midfield, with Nombe and Coley leading the line. On the bench for Exeter today, Lee Caprice, former Lincoln City player Jake Caprice on the bench, Stubbs, Matt J, Kegs Chalk, who is one of the other signings for Exeter. He finds himself on the bench today after coming in on loan from Southampton. Kite and Ground also on the bench there for Exeter. Both teams naming full benches, which is not usual for Lincoln City in the past season with injuries. So both teams with pretty poor form, I would say, over pre-season. Nothing particularly good about their pre-seasons. Last game for Lincoln was a 1-0 loss to Blackburn. For Exeter, it was a 1-0 loss to Torquay. But I have got some good news for Lincoln fans out there. Lincoln have not lost any of their season openers in the past 5 years, which is pretty decent. Hope that carries on today. Exeter, on the other hand, have only won 1 of their last 8 games at Central Bank. The last one being a 1-0 win in 2009, thanks to a Rob Birch 88th minute own goal, which coincidentally gave Exeter enough points to actually get promoted that season. That was the last time they got promoted from League 2 to League 1.
So first half, Lincoln 0, Exeter 1. Exeter scored with the only shot on target in the first half. It was a well-worked move, to be fair, but the first 20 minutes of that first half, all Exeter. The second half of the first half, all Lincoln City, pretty much.
Promoted team with no new signings, basically playing a League 2 team. But I don't think there's too much difference between lower end of League 1 promotion and League 2, really, is there?
It doesn't tend to be, does that? It's very rare that you see teams come back up and get absolutely spanked and go straight back down. But I wouldn't say Exeter have looked amazing, neither have we. It's a pretty even game. Hopefully it swings in our favour in the second half.
The good news is there's still a lot longer of the transfer window still to come, so a few players maybe needed to come in for Lincoln, I think.
And Lincoln pulled it back with a header from Tom Hopper, to be fair. Actually a pretty decent header. I don't think he meant it personally. Watch the replays and highlights for yourself to work out if he did mean it.
So full-time 1-1. Thoughts?
Take it, considering it was 0-1 at half time, but I still feel like I wish we'd gone on to win. We had 2 great chances to do so.
Yeah, Lincoln, much better side in that second half. Got the goal early on with Tom Hopper. Scully had 2 great chances as well to score. I feel like we should have won it. I'm a bit gutted we didn't, but it gives me a bit more hope for the season. I wasn't very confident heading into this game, so I feel a bit more confident now.
So, back home from the game now, still feeling a little bit gutted that we didn't win that one. I really think we should have gone on to win it in the second half. A bit more match sharpness in the players, and perhaps we would have done. Maybe a few more of the regular starters that are going to be playing this season. Mandroya didn't play today, injured. Vernon didn't play today, injured. But Adelican actually did play really well. Wasn't expecting him to play much this season, but after today's performance, I think he might do. But I'm back home now, so what I do is I take the recording from the mic that I had on my t-shirt to listen to it later on, etc, etc. Put that on my computer. I've got the team sheet. I like to add like the score and the goal scorers and the substitutes and cards onto this team sheet, and then I put it into a folder that I've got as well. I don't know why, but I just like that essentially. Also need to add the stats to the spreadsheet that I've made for this season as well, for the minutes played, goals scored, assists, and any other metrics that might be useful. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section what metrics I should be tracking this season. But then it's on to the next game. The next game for me is the home game against Forest Green Rovers in 2 weeks' time, so that'll be exciting. Another promoted team in Forest Green Rovers.
I'd like to think we'd win it, but, you know, promoted teams are promoted for a reason. They're good. And Exeter, for 20 minutes today, with a much better team. We actually were better for the rest of it, which was quite surprising. But Exeter, we're pretty solid. I think they'll do well this season. Also, a little bit of a quick apology on the audio as well. Essentially, the camera that I've got, which I can film right now, it's not really built for vloggy sort of stuff. Like, it just sits on this mic arm the entire time to filming for videos and stuff like that. So it's not really made for actually recording proper audio. There's no way to attach an external mic onto it. So I've done my best to try and clean up the audio, but it's still not going to be like the best quality audio you've ever heard in your life. So apologies for that, but I think you've got the gist of it essentially. So hopefully you've really enjoyed this video and you learn a little bit more about what I do as a football commentator, particularly in the audio descriptive world of things as well. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, because we could do some more of these in the future if you want to see them. So you've got to drop a like on the video to let me know that you enjoyed it. If you're new around here, make sure you do subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.